Oh, we start the process. Road to
Yes.
2047 series. Welcome to the show, Vision India Forum. Arun Kumar Sinha, former Additional Secretary, Government of India, Labour Ministry, and also ACS to the Government of Uttar Pradesh. He retired as the civil servant of UP cadre 1983 batch. Arun Sinha he was also the part of the State Service Commission. Staff Selection Commission, I think that is what it's called. And he's seen probably 6% of the country, getting jobs. So he knows very importantly as to what has been with his bureaucratic experience, the kind of the relevance of South India versus the rest of India that we've been, seeing, especially in the backdrop of the Karnataka election results. The Karnataka election results are an eye-opener now for the country, a tipping point. The ruling dispensation, BJP is out of entire South. Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, all have ruled it out of favor. The entire, population of, the votes have gone in favor of the other parties, the regional parties, and the ruling dispensation which has control over the entire country, is not present as a ruling party in any of the South Indian states. And this again has major ramifications, not only in the present, but also going forward. Because if a country which is ruled, if a country which is ruled by a party which doesn't have any presence in the entire region of South, the entire southern region, which has states as important and contributing to the exchequer, like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka now. So what is it in store for the country as a whole? And what is this so-called divide between the north or the rest of the India and the South India? Maharashtra, could be considered as a southwest state, southwest state. Now, the question is, what has been the dividing kind of narrative between the southern and west part of the country, and that is something which has played a major role in the ruling dispensation of the country being ruled out completely from the southern territories. Let us take us through a brief about post independence, especially how we started as friends. Amitabh Bachchan, Rajnikant, the poster basically depicts two friends from different parts of the country. Then they started walking their own way, and now they're pointing fingers at each other. Jasmine is blooming on its own. The lotus is blooming on its own. That's what the entire idea and the thought process behind the leaflet or the collateral was. Arun Kumar Sinha, former Additional Secretary, Government of India Labour. Over to you, sir. South versus rest of India. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amitji. This is a very engrossing and interesting topic, South India versus rest of India. And as we know and we always talk also, the diversity in the country. India is not one, and it has got a lot of variety. And when we put it in a general term, then also as per a directional thing, South India, North India, East India, West India, and Northeast India. I mean, generally, if we very broadly term them, then they get divided among these five zones. So, and it's a large country. Right now, we have the maximum population in the world. We belong to that country. But if we see the south and with the rest of India, then as far as population is concerned, it is only one quarter. One quarter of population resides in the South India, and rest three-fourths reside in the other four zones which we talked about. And uh, uh, then, if we see at the time of independence, South Indian states, which was four, and after last census, it has become five with the addition of the Telangana. So, at the time of independence, the situation was mixed. It was India with among the states of the India. But in last uh, South Indian states, they progressed a lot, and that is evident from their basic parameters. The most important, perhaps, things which are cause of these progress. One is the governance. Definitely, governance of South India was better, and there is no one thing which can be pointed to all South India states. Each state had a lot of they've done innovation. For example, midday meal. Tamil Nadu started with this experimentation to bring students to the school, and it was so successful that later on it was adopted in the national level, and now we have midday meal scheme in pan India. So such small innovations which were uh, experimented in these states and where they produced very good result. Uh, then if we come to uh, the issues which right now I think all states are facing generally. One is they always talk about that. Okay, South state they have done wonderful. Their population control measures were very successful, and they all are below 2.1 reproduction rate. That they all are below that. Whereas in the other regions, this is not the case. So the South India feels that uh, 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 less population should not be become a burden for them. In
Arunji,
the
Arunji, the labor always moves from UP, Bihar to south or to north. We've never heard about the labor moving from south to north or other parts of the country. What is the reason? Is it because you are from the labor ministry, you've seen things happening from labor perspective? So I'm putting my question, directing that question to something which your expertise is on. I mean, and then secondly, even if industrialization or employment opportunities was one reason why the labor never felt like, migrating to other parts. Even a state like Maharashtra, they have, for example, Maharashtra, which is considered more or less like they don't consider, especially the Konkani belt, they don't consider themselves to be North Indians by any means. They find a huge cultural difference between North and their culture, though they are primarily Hindi speaking. Because we'll come to these aspects later. That Maharashtra, despite being language, kind of, it is symmetric, and in terms of the language spoken there, Hindi is the language. Despite that, how come Maharashtra is, and then contributing the highest to the exchequer, how come Maharashtra feels itself alienated from the rest of the country? Because the general Marathi, the Marathi Manus, even we can see the developments of the MNS, wherein the North Indians were targeted and they were driven away. The UPBR laborers were driven away. There were a lot of reports about violence in the early 2010, 11, 12, 13 times when Mr. Raj Thackeray started his own political journey. So what are the reasons you think that this kind of employment opportunities and other things play a role in creating this divide further? Because language can definitely not be the only reason. Because had language been the only reason, Maharashtra would have been a case in point.
very right. What I see, if we talk about migration for employment, then in early days after independence, because like Kerala is a Christian-dominated area, and they have very good spoken English and other things, and a lot of people. Like even if you go to Delhi or other places, you will find among bureaucrats, that's also that lot of people from Kerala migrated to various places in search of employment. And they were, of course, very educated and niche in them. So migration was that way, the other way around also. Like if you see the nursing was a domain of again Kerala, and which was dominated by the whole India. So I think it is more of advantage of first mover and then getting the expertise. But once they progressed, the South Indian state, like North, people from North were very rare crossing the Vindhyas. Generally, if you see, they used to go to the metros, and of course, Chennai is one metro, but more of them went to either, say, Maharashtra in Mumbai or Kolkata in the east side. And Chennai also is a metro, but the migration was less that way. And as you know, that it is 1, 2, 4, the geometric progression. If one person goes, then he will bring two. Then accordingly, the number goes up. So migration was more towards and then people who were migrated, they were not very skilled person. So naturally, especially people going from North India. So they were absorbed in that capacity, like labor of Bihar and Eastern UP. They used to go to Punjab for agriculture purposes, like that. So it happened like that. But gradually, like recently, you must have learned about when we were talking about the problem of the migrant labor during COVID, that in Tamil Nadu also, Coimbatore and other places, many North Indians were working there, and they are working in the factories also. So now, of course, I think a lot of industrial workers are also moving to South, and I think the reason is that, and language is not the barrier. Basically, if they feel confident, safe, then they go there. Like recently, something happened with Tamil Nadu, Bihar workers. Some issues were flared up, and it happens because look, there is always some uh, dissatisfaction among local people. Like it happened in Mumbai also, and it was used politically also, and son of soil thing. It is happening, I think, in West Bengal also, or places where lot of migrant labor comes. This problem crops up after some time. So, but I think this number is not there in South India. Perhaps that has, so this problem has not come up. So
Sir,
this is
what is your
what I
take?
think.
What is your take on the divide, Arunji, because of the language issue? Because you see, Hindi is spoken in most parts of the country. It is the most favored language of the country uh, nationally. Apart from these five South Indian states, which speak either one of those local dialects of Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, Kannada, and language is definitely one reason why there is such a big divide. And this has, do you think the reason behind, creation of this has something to do with the colonial policies where these issues were flared up, and then Hindi finally, after the dispensation came into power in 1947, Hindi was constitutionally adopted as the national language. Do you think that this is such a major factor? Because I personally feel language is a major factor in terms of the divide being created. The workers, for example, from Bihar, UP, they do not go to other states as much as they go to Maharashtra, because there they are comfortable in the Hindi language. In the other parts of the southern states, language is the reason why most of them try to refrain from migrating to those states. Yes, Tamil Nadu and such states are offering huge opportunities in the textile sectors, construction sector. But then again, there are fingers being pointed on exploitation and bonded labor over there.
Yes, I think this southern state, they are emotional about also language, and right from the beginning they have some thing, they are averse to Hindi, and they feel that Hindi is being thrust on them. So a lot of opposition is there, and I feel it is more of emotional, and they always have a fear that perhaps Hindi will be imposed on them, and they come very strongly against this. that no, this should not be done, and they are very vocal also. In fact, a lot of social movement started from Tamil Nadu, and which happened later on in say northern India, and many leaders of South and North when they met, the main point of this disturbance was, or they were not agreeing, was language. That they say no, language we will not compromise. The rest of things are okay. So South India that way strongly feels that Hindi should not be imposed on them, and that is there.
What are the other reasons you think cultural divide? There's a huge cultural divide between the way the South Indian people, the populace, kinds and lives in their daily lives with vis-a-vis the lifestyle of the North Indians and the other parts of the country, because Western influence in the other parts of the country is pretty prominent compared to the influence that is there in the southern parts of the country. So, you think cultural divide also is now making a huge difference for this division to grow further and further?
No, cultural divide is there definitely, and the diversity which the country has. So too many languages and too many eating habits, everything is there. But when the migrant labor, when they go, it is not a case of a short term. If they stay for some time, then they adopt. Like many South Indians, I remember, but these are anecdotal things, that they have settled in Uttar Pradesh, in Bihar, and their children were born there and grew up. So in the long term, the cultural thing is not there. But when a new person goes, naturally he has problem. He has got his religious inclination, other things. But I don't think that is a barrier, because for employment, people will go to improve their lot. And as you see that the big cities, there is no religion, no culture. It is one. Whether you are in Delhi or Mumbai or Chennai or that way, Bangalore, the city doesn't. But rural area, yes. Rural areas are closed thing and a lot of things. But generally, the migrant worker, they go to other industrial estate or cities. So I don't think cultural barrier is very strong for those areas. But yes, if they move to just like agriculture laborer, they go to Punjab, they will definitely not go to the south because there they will have problems.
Arunji, what do you think is the major reason for this division? Language? Is it economic opportunities? Is it that the Delhi has been controlling ever since 1911 when the capital was shifted to Delhi? I mean, what has been the reason why people have been so averse to accepting the Delhi rulers as their rulers in their own states? And the same model we can see that happening in West Bengal. Yeah, we understand. There also language, though Hindi is not a taboo there, like in Tamil Nadu, but Bengal obviously has its own thought process completely different from everything that the rest of the country thinks, because primarily the idea is that whatever they think, the country starts thinking after them. So what about states like Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala? Kerala, again, you can compare it with Bengal to some extent because of the leftist ideologies and also because of the employment opportunities which they have started, which they for years, because of their, mixing with the Christian population, they were quite, used to traveling abroad, and Middle East became a haven of opportunities for the Keralites, and huge income opportunities they have been able to set up in Middle East, even as top class businessmen of global repute. But the rest of the country, especially the South, apart from language, why cannot a central dispensation ever have its footprints, imposed, or footprints concretized in these southern states? Because you were also in the heavy industries ministry as the joint secretary, I remember. So your experience of handling industries as well, from as a joint secretary, former joint secretary, Heavy Industries, Government of India, DPE rather. I mean, what would you have to say? What is the cultural difference that you found in the work culture, ethos, governance? You've already told. It's all a part. Governance is just basically, part of the culture. So what did you find as a major difference as your experience in the heavy industries or public enterprises gave you?
Uh, this south and north, one is the, I think, a matter of trust also. Like generally, South Indians are God fearing. And whereas in North Indian people are very smart. So perhaps that may be one thing, that perception that people from South are very smart. And historically also, what we know that uh, South state was more because of various invasion from outside. Indian people, they moved to South. So that is a historical fact. But another thing which is very important, I feel, is the population. The population of the country, which for a democracy is very important factor. And I think they feel apprehension that they have adopted family planning. And they have not adopted, they have adopted because they have progressed. Their poverty level is very low. Because of that, naturally your population growth will be reduced because of good facilities of health, education, and other things. Whereas the North Indian, that has not happened. And like in 2026, the next delimitation is, I mean, that is there. So next delimitation, if it happens, then that is based on the population. So that is a big apprehension for South Indian state, that they will lose a lot on that in that. And if the old formula is extended, but I'm sure that country will come out and meet this challenge and find out. Because you see, in our country, as you said, na, that why there is a suspicion or they are not with the government of India. So government of India has to show that they care for everybody, and nobody has got advantages compared to that. So that level of confidence they have to build, or for political parties also, they have to build this confidence that they will not discriminate uh, on the basis of, say, uh, region, or on the basis of sex, or on the basis of caste, or other things. So that confidence in democracy is very important, and it comes because finally the things have to move towards better things. Another important thing which generally comes is about southern state. They feel that assistance from the government of India, because population is also an important factor in that. So they feel they are giving a lot of revenue, but the return from the central government is not proportionate to that. That is another debate which goes on, and there are pros and cons of that debate. That this central government assistance goes more to the northern state compared to southern state. And the introduction of GST, state, their revenue raising capacity is now, uh, in fact, it is now upgraded to the government of India. Whatever the GST decides, that that has to be implemented. Earlier, it used to be a tool for the state government, and with better governance and better thing, they could use this tool for betterment of the people. So that is another issue of
Arunji,
sharing of resources.
when UPA or when the Congress could put Mr. Narasimha Rao as the Prime Minister of India, and it was a tipping point in India's post-independence history. That is what most people would agree. Why can't a party which is in power today, like BJP, which is so-called a democratic party, a non-dynastic party, why can't they also look at having leaders projected at the top, who are at least, if not the prime minister immediately, they can also could have looked at somebody projected, which I think they never did. Last 10 years of the NDA government, I've never heard about any particular leader from the South being tom-tommed the same way as any political leader apart from Mr. Amit Shah or Mr. Narendra Bhai Modi. I don't really know any such political leader who has been really positioned or promoted. Like for example, in Northeast, they positioned Himanta Biswa Sarma. And the results are there for the country to see and the ruling dispensation to see. But at the same time, they probably missed a trick here, I guess, by not positioning a leader on the same lines as maybe probably like as big as film star, because these southern states have been always fascinated by film stars. Rajinikanth, Kamal Haasan, M.G. Ramachandran, Jayalalitha, etc. Mohanlal, Mammootty. There are so many names, Adur Balakrishnan, Gopalakrishnan, the great filmmaker with 16 National Film Awards. Just we were covering him a few days back when we were doing a show on Dada Saab Phalke. Dada Saab Phalke, for example, the founder of Indian cinema, completely missed out. Not even a single national institution of films and technology, television, in Dada Saab Phalke's name. Could the government not have done anything much more than petty roadside politics or booth level politics of trying to assuade, local politicians at the regional level so that, the numbers could play in their favor? Because if this trend continues, I'm sorry, Bollywood cricket would not be able to bind India long enough, though the cry or the outcry still has never reached those forwards about being separate from India. But in case South can come up with somebody as a national, unified face from South India, that would again become a danger for Indian democracy and the federal system, because the ruling dispensation definitely missed a trick by not positioning anyone in the entire South as a great top leader amongst themselves, so that the South people, the entire South, could have related, like what the Congress did when they used to position Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, so much so that they gave him the hot seat, and he is somebody whom the country and the world remembers as somebody who turned this nation's destiny forever in the liberalization process along with Dr. Manmohan Singh. I am not favoring any political party. It is just a common, and if this trend continues, I may repeat again. Tomorrow, in a year's time, we have Lok Sabha. The government is out from all the states in the southern part of the country. Definitely, a big impact it will have on the Lok Sabha polls as well. So ultimately, it doesn't even augur well for the Lok Sabha kind of verdict or the polls which are expected in a year's time from now. So what is your take on the government and the dispensation, Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Modi missing out these very important issues as far as the entire South India is concerned, wherein they were very serious and they are still serious about positioning Northeast as the Ashtabhuja के तौर पे position करते हैं Northeast को, and every month there are central ministers who are making such rounds. Yes, we have state presidents and state prabharis who are in charge of various states for the election purposes, but I don't think that they have really been able to replicate the same model that they did for Northeast. Any take on this particular aspect of the divide becoming larger and wider?
I mean, I totally agree what you said, and we always emphasize this point that it's a very diverse country and different aspirations are there, and the federal structure is there. And the state thing is also there. So this gives a lot of flexibility, but then we have to be inclusive and we have to take the country together. And that is not a very short-term thing. It's a continuous process. This should go on so that you have local leadership also, and right from panchayat up to the government of India, they rise from one to other ladder. So that is very important, and that is a challenge to all political parties. If they want to grow, if they want to rule the country, they want to form government in the country, then they have to follow these basic things. That
Going forward, what are you going forward? Arunji, please take a moment if you are having some coughing
no,
problem.
yeah, sometime I get a attack of this.
अगर परेशानी है तो हम शो को रोक देते हैं.
नहीं ठीक है, I think.
Okay, 2 more minutes, sir. 2 more minutes.
Yeah,
What are your suggestions? We all can, if you have to talk about literature, we can keep talking. That लिपि अलग है, भाषा अलग है. पहले संस्कृत थी, अब संस्कृत नहीं है. तमिल डायलेक्ट चलता है, द्रविडियन डायलेक्ट अलग है. यहाँ पर ये हमारा फिर देन मनुस्मृति का क्या योगदान है, वहाँ क्या है, यहाँ क्या है. देन द गॉड्स गॉडेसेस, द रिलीजियस बिलीफ्स. तिरुपति मान रहा है, यहाँ पर कोई कुछ मान रहा है. Then we have those issues about Christians or the Christianity becoming quite popular in Kerala, not from today, but thousands of years. So religion, art, culture, language, literature, food, dances, industry, governance, if everything is so different now, and still they are contributing to the country so much so, the question is, what are they getting in return being part of this federal structure? Or is it that they are basically the kind of they are basically complementary partners whose job is to just keep contributing from a one-sided perspective. If that is the trend which is expected, then just for political convenience, the widening of this gap doesn't augur well for national integration. And the government, the ideology behind the government has to also drive the aspect that Hindutva or the nationalist thought of governance, nationalist thought doesn't mean Hindutva alone. It means being part of this country, and Hindutva is not only about a religion, it's about a way of life. And if that can be established, and Hindutva and Hindi should not be mixed. Hindutva and Hindi should not be mixed. And finally, I also feel positioning and projection of few national leaders, if not few, at least a couple of them, just like, we have somebody like Amit Shah, known as the man to go and all that. So similarly, if somebody like that from a southern perspective could have been positioned, if not state-wise, overall from the south, because the entire south would have related to that one or two names if it was there in the party. And for the last 10 years would have been responsible for many key decisions along with the political dispensation. It would have united because, somebody at the center, regional parties in the state levels, like in Bengal, for always, it has always retarded the growth and progress. Now, we have to look at it relatively. If center's government or the same party would have been ruling probably the last 10 years in the regional states also, probably development would have been a little more faster, a little more bigger. For example, we can see how progressive Telangana is, how fast they have grown, Andhra and Telangana. But then political rift between TDP, then YRS, then there is no cohesion even with the Shiv Sena now. Then the JDS. What is the future and what are your suggestions if this trend continues in the next 5 years, 10 years, considering that the same party rules at the center? Do you think it is something which will augur well for India going forward to 2047, sir?
see, in democracy, and especially the situation given in the country where states are there and then the center federal arrangement is there. Uh, if if it's only the informity, I think is a very difficult proposition, and generally it simplifies the things. But in our country, we have to give space to different things. It has to be inclusive, and yes, if it is what they call double engine sarkar, perhaps it will be advantageous in many things, but it may create other problems also, because now we are listening a lot of uh, one nation, one thing. Yes, nation is important, but state will also, they should also get a role in that. Their uniqueness, their
Sir, what one
important
nation?
things.
What one nation? Kya?
One nation and one skin, like one nation, one ration card, one nation. A lot of things are there. One nation, one election. Uh, what is there that uh, yes, nation is important, but state has also to play a role. And in such a big country, I mean, it's very difficult to rule the country through the unitary approach. So state has got, in fact, right now, my feeling is that this Panchayati Raj and urban local authorities, they have been also not given. It is more of centralizing nature. Our things are like that. But the best thing is that it should be mixed. The local things should be kept at the local things, and the higher things should go to the higher places, because that is very costly also and inefficient. If everything, all the decisions are taken at the national level, then a lot of problem will be there. So, what system we have got, we should use it. We should use it like you will see that this Panchayati Raj and local bodies, they are just election, that's all. And after that, the funds will come from Government of India or state government, and then they will do the things. So I think they have got a role, like in our office also. If the top man works, it doesn't mean that whole department will work. The best department is that where from bottom to top people are working and contributing. Then that is real progress and development. So for the country also, I see that there is role for all of them. How to do that? That is the big challenge. We have to develop the merit-based things. Right people should be there so that he is at the right place. So and again, it depends on from what angle you are seeing. I'm seeing it from the bottom-up approach that I'm seeing. If you are seeing the top, and what you are is very right that if you want to rule a state, then you must have a leader of that stature who can give you foothold there, and people can converge with him. Then only do. And the bottom up is that there are leaders. There are leaders, and you give opportunity, they progress, they prove themselves, and gradually they move up to the top level. So in our country, this mixed model will work. I mean, and that is my.
Sir, before I end the show, I have to say this, though this is an endless, most of the issues, it's a very complex country. But in a nutshell, what happened with Andhra, the TDP alliance getting broken up because of the special package demand being rejected by Mr. Arun Jaitley of Chandrababu Naidu ji, the man, the architect behind, so-called building India's IT industry. I mean, the reasons cited were earmarking of funds, allocation, center had to take very judicious calls, keeping the entire country in mind. Definitely, I mean, we sitting here across the screens are no one to suddenly talk about why Arun Jaitley or the Prime Minister Modi-led government rejected Mr. Naidu's claims. But what we can definitely suggest or we can definitely understand is that there should not be such decisions taken for the nation's benefit, because if you're at the same time saying that some 1,000 crores or 10,000 crores or 30,000 crores of funds would make or break a nation's destiny. So by breaking an alliance of the kind of, the significance like the TDP or the Shiv Sena had with the BJP, the central government, the ruling dispensation, and now they are all walking their own way. Jagan has his own way. Uh, Eknath Shinde suddenly with the Hindutva card in his hand has got the power back. But at the same time, Mr. Pawar is back after resigning, and he is all set for the next year, along with his colleagues in the Shiv Sena and other, his friends in the Shiv Sena and other parties. And Karnataka is gone. DK Shiv Kumar, now the deputy CM, is a case in point again. Siddaramaiah is back in the hot seat. Kerala is in a mess as always. Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, having contributed so much to the exchequer, they are again, facing political rift. And Stalin almost, through the towel when he said that every state with a non-BJP government should pass a resolution at the state assembly to overturn the decisions of the governor, who is nothing but a puppet in the hands of the central government, just like the central institutions. Now, these kind of developments don't augur well, don't really help the country. The entire fabric of our constitution, of our political legislation, everything gets complicated further. So instead of simplifying things, things are getting murkier. And for political advantages and for ego issues, I don't know, political issues, number games, money can definitely be another very important factor. Money means not the money to, buy out people for defections and all that. What I mean is money can be used constructively by the center to keep political alliances at, and not only keep them at bay, but keep them at hold, but also to strengthen the ties further, which wasn't the case probably with TDP and with a certain gentleman called Sri Chandrababu Naidu, who we all grew up seeing as one of the greatest architects of modern India, along with Sri P.V. Narasimha Rao. So some few good points that have come out. Arun ji, आपके सहयोग से हमेशा की तरह Additional Secretary Labor, a great son of the nation. Thank you so much, sir. आपने अपना कीमती वक्त दिया दोपहर के 3 बजे बैठ के हमारे साथ. We look forward to meeting you again on our next show. Demonetization has again happened. The Demogate is back. So whether the gates of frauds are going to be closed now or opened up again like in 2016, we'll discuss that in our next show next week. Goodbye. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you.